back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys, so I am here today to do a book review, and this book review has been a long time coming. I have finally finished Lord of Chaos, which is book number 6 in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. And I am super happy because I actually really enjoyed this book and I gave it a 5 out of 5 star rating, so let's get into the review. I basically ended up listening to this book on Audible rather than reading it, and that's why it took a very long time for me to get through. However, I have decided that I do prefer the audiobook versions because I think they're just really fun. I think the voice acting helps to bring the Wheel of Time books to life, because in the Wheel of Time, if you've not read it, you don't know, but there are a huge amount of characters and a huge amount of different areas, a massive world, a huge plot line with various intertwining plots, and it's just a ginormous cast of characters. So the voice acting that you get through the audiobook version really helps to work out who's speaking and kind of understand the storyline a lot more. And so I will probably be continuing on with the rest of the series in audiobook format, but I will be buying the physical books too because I like to have the collection on my shelf and I think they're really pretty. But yeah, I really enjoy the voice acting, so if you want to listen to this on audiobook, then give it a go because it's great. I actually listened to this whilst I was doing a lot of my degree work as well, so that's pretty cool. Just university work, drawing and sketching whilst listening to this is pretty fun. So in book number 6 we actually get to see a lot of cool stuff that book number 5 and the previous books didn't really show us. For example, there are a ton more characters and we get a lot of different viewpoints, such as the Forsaken, who come into it in a big way, and we start to really see what they're plotting and things that are going on with them. So that's a really interesting point of view to watch from and hear about. And each of the different point of views connects with each other, so it eventually kind of moves everyone's plotline along, but because there are so many different points of view, you are constantly skipping around from land to land, place to place, to see different things going on at different times. It gets a little bit crazy to read it and kind of guess where everyone is and just find out all the new people and learn what's really going on, but that's why I love the audiobook so much. And I think that this was just a really fun book overall, even though it took me so long. Just being immersed in this great epic world is so much fun, and I really enjoy massive fantasy series, so this one's great. Of course, I can't really go into the plotline because this is book number 6 and I don't want to spoil it, but I am going to talk a little bit about the major characters and how interesting I found them and things that happened with them without spoiling the plot for you guys. So, of course, our main character in the whole of the Wheel of Time series is Rand al'Thor, who is the Dragon Reborn. He's basically the one who ties everything together. He is the one whom all of the subplots feature and focus around, and he is basically the centre of everything. He is quite an interesting character because he's kind of got to battle between whether he's going mad or whether he's staying sane, and in this book we really get to see a little bit more of that and kind of see the split personalities that he's dealing with. He's got many trials that he faces within the book, a lot of big problems come up and he has to try and fix them. He also has to fight a lot harder against Lewis Therian in this book, which is a really interesting thing to see, and to experience all of the inner emotions that he has with that are really cool. I was also really happy that Perrin and Fael were back in the storyline because I missed Perrin. I thought he was a great character in the first few books, and then he kind of took a break in book 5 and we didn't see him. And he came a little bit back into this one, but I'm currently reading book number 7 and he seems a lot more prominent in that one. I like the fact that we saw him as a leader a little bit more and we started to see how he was really dealing with all of the things that have happened to this point. I think he's a really interesting character because of who he is and the way that he thinks about things, but I did get the feeling that he was slightly overshadowed by the relationship that he had with Fael a little bit, and that was a slight annoyance. The question of love kind of took over a little bit in this storyline with him, and I feel like it's the same in book 7. He's kind of a bit overshadowed by trying to keep Fael happy rather than really progress his storyline. But hopefully he will get better. And by the end of this book, he was really cool and some really awesome things happened with his plotline. So I enjoyed him a lot in this story, not so much in the middle, but at the beginning and the end I think he was really, really awesome and a really cool character. Nynaeve becomes a really cool character again in this book. She really starts to unlock all of the interesting things that are happening with her powers, and she basically discovers so much cool stuff that I was just in awe and I was loving it. She becomes really quite incredible and discovers some really cool things, and all of this leads up to a really joyous event within the book, which was really lovely and I just was not expecting, so that was awesome. But it did kind of turn out to be a little bit of a blessing, which could have the potential to turn into a disaster, so that was a fun twist. Matt is always a fun character. I do feel that he can sometimes be quite sullen and quite dull, and he kind of irritates me a little bit in that respect. Even when he's trying to do good, he kind of seems to be in a permanent grump at the moment, which is a bit annoying and kind of brings the tone of the story down a little bit whenever it gets to him. He is probably my least favourite out of all the big main characters, but that's not to say that he's bad. I do enjoy his plotline still, and I've heard that his plotline gets a lot better in the later books, but I do feel that he kind of gets a bit used in this book by various other characters. He doesn't really have his own ideas and ways of doing things. He's kind of an errand boy essentially in this story, so that was a little bit of a shame because he is an interesting character in his own right, but he just felt a little bit lost in this as opposed to a really cool, fun character as he had been before. And basically this book has so many other characters that I could go into detail about, but if I did we would be here for ages and there's no point in me giving it all away because I want you guys to go read this series. Some of the others who are worth mentioning in passing are the Wise Ones and the Aes Sedai. I think that they are really great characters and I loved seeing how their plotlines started to interlock, because up until this point a lot of the different tribes and different people of this world had kind of been separate. They've been in their own lands and they haven't really come together in different ways to either fight or make peace. Like, different things happen with different people, but there was not a lot of crossover until this book, and in this book everything started to cross over. Different tribes start to kind of interlink and different people start to work together or fight, and I really enjoyed that crossover and seeing all of that. The whole of this book was quite exciting because of all of the crossover and the testing and the pushing the limits, which was a nice thing to see. I am actually reading book number 7 at the moment, or listening to it, and I'm really enjoying it. I have heard that books 7, 8 and 9 actually slow down quite a lot, and I've heard that a lot of people who are kind of readers who read this series as it was coming out have really not enjoyed 7, 8 and 9, but I have been told by other people that actually the reason for that is because there was a huge time delay between book number 6 and book number 10 coming out. Like, there was a long period where the books were not very regular, and so I can kind of understand why people don't like them as much if they had to wait for a lot longer, and there was also a lot less page count in those books. So that makes sense. So I'm hoping that because all of the books are now out and the series is complete and I don't have to have that wait, then I will enjoy book number 7. I am really enjoying it at the moment. I'm already 20% of the way through, so I should hopefully finish it up this month. And I'm just really excited for it. I think it's going to be a really fun series. I'm loving the world, I'm loving the characters, and just listening to it in audiobook form is really fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and as I say, I gave this one a 5 out of 5 star rating. It was really fun, very enjoyable, highly would recommend this series to you guys. It is a long series, I totally get that it's humongous, but it's worth it. It's really fun, the world and the scope of the world is incredible, so definitely go and pick up this series, and it's great for winter. Like, in the cold, dreary days, you can just snuggle up with this massive book and enjoy yourself reading it, and it's great for that sort of time of year. So yeah, let me know what you think of The Wheel of Time, if you've read it, if you're currently reading it. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little chat about books.